You are listening to Fantha tracks.
You're listening to Fantha tracks. Flip through the galaxy of literature. Welcome to Canon Fodder.
So we're joined today here with Paul Shipper. Now, Paul is an artist you will know from many things. But first things first, how are you? Is all good?
All good. All good. That's the good way of saying it. Yeah, I'm good. I am good. Been busy at the moment, which is very nice. We've done a couple of conventions recently, which was good. Which is one of those places where I saw you there.
Yes.
So yeah, between it was Galaxy Palooza and remind me, my
Force
brain.
Fest.
Force Fest. Thank you. So yes, and they were both new events, and I was very happy to be there, and yeah, it went really well. It was good meeting a lot of Star Wars fans and just interacting and having a good chat, and yeah, it was great. It's been good.
Is that something that you don't tend to do? I mean, I guess the life, I can barely draw a stick man, let alone what you draw, but I guess the artist's life is fairly solitary because it's so time consuming. Do you get to do many events?
I hadn't done any for a while, to be honest. So I'm sort of trying to get back into it again and sort of, meet the people out there, and because it is, like you said, it's quite a solitary profession. So I am a bit of a hermit, I guess, a bit of an Obi-Wan Kenobi in a cave kind of thing. Yeah, it is nice to get out now and again, because obviously I love what I do, and it is very much like, well, you're working with other people who, your clients and things, so you're interacting with them, but everything is done online. You're not actually going physically somewhere really. You're just having a chat on videos and phone calls and emails and that kind of thing. So when getting out and about is pretty nice, a nice break when I can do that.
You've got a really nice table layout. It was very noticeable how nicely set up everything was. So you definitely set up for it.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I try it. It's it's tricky to know, like, the size of a table you might need and all that kind of stuff. So I try and keep things. For conventions, I have some small prints that I have there to sign, and just try and keep it fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Prints and sort of postcard size things, so there's a bit of a price point for people. But yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm glad you kind of thought it was a nice layout. So
yeah, absolutely. You say work being busy. What is a busy day for you? As no 2 days are the same, I know that. But what would an average, like with the air quotes, busy day be for yourself?
A busy day? Well, I mean, it's mostly the amount of projects they're on. So currently, there's some of them aren't quite going yet, but I'm juggling about 3 or 4 projects at the moment, which is it's quite fun to be able to kind of do that well. Well, you're waiting for feedback on one thing, you're on to the next thing, and that kind of thing. So you kind of keep busy. So it's generally, it, I'm just busy creating stuff to then show the client and then wait for feedback. I can't tell you anything about what those things are, but it's a fun. I quite like the collaborative process actually between. It's not just all about, like, I'm not doing everything that I want to do. I'm doing, this is my job. I'm a freelance illustrator, so I'm working for people who have an idea of what they want. Sometimes they don't know what they want, and they want to see it before they know. Other times they're very, very precise in what they're after, and so every project's very different.
Do you get that a lot? It strikes me with work and life in general, there's more people who can tell you what they don't want than what they do want. Is your part of your job in that sense to figure out for them what they want?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's a journey sometimes. And then it's so hard. It's hard to there's no like cut and dried way of explaining it. So, and everybody's different as well, and everyone's got different ideas or different things that they want to achieve. Like whether it's I mean, sometimes it's like an Empire magazine cover, for example. You know, I'm working with the creative director of Empire, who's he's awesome, and he knows what he wants, and he kind of he just talks it out with me or puts it in an email, and then I'll present something, and then he's like, it's either that's great or just to change this a little bit, and it's quite a quick collaboration sometimes, and that kind of thing. The lead time is, you don't have a lot of time sometimes to actually do that. um but something like that can be quite quick, and then other times it can be, you know, a lot more back and forth until we're at a position where we're like, yeah, we're ready. And then we illustrate it and get it done once we've, because generally the way I work is I used to just sketch everything and hand them sketches and say, here you go. And nowadays it's all done on Photoshop with, composite kind of images, and trying to color it the right way early on to try and get a feel for something, rather than spend a whole day illustrating something there for them to say, "Oh, we don't like it." Um, so a lot of the stuff's just kind of produced on the computer first, and then once it's ready to be illustrated, then we go to illustration, which is also a digital process, but it's like a whole nother level of it sort of elevates something that starts off as photographic and then takes it to another level, which is where the aesthetic that I love kind of comes into it.
With your process, then, when you started as an artist, presumably as a kid, I'm making the assumption you're as a kid that came as an artist, that as things develop, technology changes and aesthetics change and tastes change. But could you still identify your own sort of style within that, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, the reason why I became an illustrator is because of movie posters, really. So, and there was a specific style of movie posters that inspired me, and those were by certain artists, which I realized that it was an artist that was doing these things. And so the main artist that kind of got my attention was a guy called Drew Struzan, which most people have heard his name by now. But back when I figured that out, he wasn't a household name, really. I mean, I think within the industry, yes, but as far as like, finding out who did the poster, it wasn't necessarily a well-known fact,
Yeah.
like, because all there was on the poster was his first name, which was Drew, and it's like, well, what is that? Last name, first name? Well, I don't know. At the
Yeah.
time, but what it did was it kind of gave me the impetus to find out that this was somebody's job, and being inspired by these movie posters, the art of the movie posters, they just kind of resonated with me and kind of made me feel something. Especially, I've loved movies growing up, so seeing a film and then having a movie poster associated with the film, if the film poster is of a certain quality, it always would end up on my bedroom wall, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And if it was a poster that worked, I mean, some movie posters just fail. They just don't not that good, or they don't speak to you, or they're false advertising, because it's promising you something, you go there and you don't get it. But some of them are just so on the money. It's amazing, and they're just to this day, I still don't kind of know what it is that why I felt all those things. I mean, I love music as well, but there
Yeah.
was something about movie posters that made me feel like there's something very, very special about them. And so that's kind of for the last, I don't know how many years it is now, because I'm getting old now, but a lot of years now. But since I was like 12, I kind of realized, So let's see, that's 38 years. So it's quite a long time to be passionate about something and then try and make a career out of that thing that you're passionate about. And I'm thankful to have been able to do some of those things, which is good. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I never actually know if I answer questions by the end of the me talking.
Hi, this is Ashley Eckstein, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
With movie posters, the one movie posters are just as much part of the film as the film itself, the soundtrack, the teaser trailer, anything else. It's part of the whole production, the whole presentation, the tease of it almost. But with movie posters, it seems to be that it's the composition as much as the art sometimes that really nails it. Is that a fair assessment?
I 100% agree. Yeah, I think the aesthetic, which is kind of like the presentation of the piece or whatever it may be, is also important. But I think the composition, the elements that are included in that, the narrative of the poster. So it's basically you're trying to tell a story in a single image, and so that is the challenge. And when it's done well, it's fantastic. Um, and yeah, definitely the composition is key. The storytelling part of it is key. The finishing of it is just the cherry on top, really. So I'd say I spend quite a lot of time working on the composition usually, if I get the opportunity. Sometimes don't always get the opportunity, and they know what they want, and that's what we want. But we just want to illustrate because we know by illustrating it's gonna level it up a notch. It's gonna actually make it work because sometimes things just can be very busy and they don't have a cohesive kind of feel to them, and they can look a bit disjointed. Something that comes to mind is that the Sony Spider-Man movie posters, which they always can be a bit bad. They kind of people who like notoriously said how bad they are, and they feel like I mean, I love the Spider-Man movies, but the posters, I feel like they really could do better. I think this new movie, I think they may have done a better job, but in the past, they were notoriously not that good. And so sometimes just by reworking over it, it can make it really come back together again and start looking cohesive and look like a beautiful image.
Where did you start professionally? Where was the sort of the first stepping stone for you?
Into like the movies or just into illustration? Well, illustration. I mean, I done all sorts of stuff over the years. Even when I was at school, I was like doing portraits for people and things like that, pet portraits or whatever it was. And when I was at uni, I ended up a one of our lecturers, his wife had a company doing interior design, and they needed some artists to do like a Trompe-l'oeil thing in somebody's house. Basically, it's like scaffolding on I was painting cherubs on ceilings. It was like bit Michelangelo-y kind of thing. By at the side of people's indoor swimming pools, like they wanted a scene of Barbados, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I did that. I've done all sorts of things really. I've just always tried to keep it as trying to do illustration and art and anything like that. But as far as getting a break, I mean, I've always been. I mean, I'm one of the. I'm trying to think. When the Phantom Menace was coming out, I just wanted to do a little something. I hadn't seen the poster, but at this point, I'd just seen stills and things. And I put something together and sent it off to the Star Wars magazine, and they published it in the magazine. So that was pretty cool. And that was obviously around that time. It was late 90s. But I'm trying to think of the earliest like movie poster. The first actual movie poster I did was for a film called Made for Each Other, and it was, and I actually did an actual painting for it, and it was like a adult, not adult comedy. It's a comedy, but it wasn't like a family comedy. It was kind of it had grown up things in it. And it was, but the main thing was one of the cast members. It was a famous actor called George Segal, And when after I'd done it, I realized that. So that was my first movie. This is just a kind of a little kind of bit of knowledge for me, really.
Yeah.
Because when it happened, and I realized that my hero of illustration, Drew Struzan, who did movie posters, his first movie poster starred George Segal.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
it's kind of a bizarre little knowledge bite,
Yeah.
but for me it was like a sign for me. I was like, yeah, I'm on the right path, I should be doing this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's a little fun bit of insight. But after then, I mean, it's a very slow process. It was 10 years to become an overnight success, really. Say it that way. Before you know it, like, wow, where'd this guy come from? He just came from nowhere. But it was a lot of like, I think the internet helped, to be fair. I mean,
Yeah.
it was that time period where you'd post things that were interesting to you and people would see them and then they'd tell their friends, and then before you know it, like I was starting to make some friends who were over in America, and this one friend knew somebody who worked at Disney at the theatrical print department, and so um, they said, "Oh, if you're ever over, we'll get you to meet them or something." So I'm like, I booked a ticket. I saved up and I kind of made sure I could get over there, found a hotel nearby, and I mean, I had the meeting. It was amazing, and nothing came of it. It
Sure.
was around the time of Guardians of the Galaxy came out, maybe the
Right.
year before that came out,
Yeah.
and the head of the department kind of took me to the side and said, "We haven't got anything right now, but there is a movie coming out that I think you're gonna be perfect for, and it's called Guardians of the Galaxy." And I'm like, "Wow, that sounds amazing." I had no idea what it was because I know now it was a comic book at the time, but I had no clue at that time what it was. And so I thought I just kept waiting for the email, or maybe they're gonna be emailing me or phoning me soon, and never it never happened. And so I thought I'm gonna go back. So I made an appointment to go back the following year, and I did that for 3 years, I think, in a row. Had no work from them, but I just kept pushing it, and I kept going for the meetings while I was in LA, and I just kept, kind of peddling my wares, I suppose. I just wouldn't take no for an answer. I just kept going back. Hey, I'm here again. Look, I'm still here. I really want to do something. And then yes, things started to happen eventually, and I was doing some stuff for. By this point, lots of Blu-ray covers and collector's series Blu-ray covers for people like Shout Factory and Arrow Video,
Yeah.
and which was really fun because I mean it's like that's a whole different thing because it's something that's been out already. A lot of the things are re-released, and so you
Yeah.
can actually approach those things differently than you would a new film that nobody's seen before. So I found that quite fun, and some of the movies I did so far I hadn't seen before, so I had to actually watch those movies. And people are like, "What? You didn't see it? How have you never seen that before?" And I haven't seen every movie. Like,
No.
you know, I do like movies, but actually, I mean, I really grew up avoiding horror. Like that was wasn't into it.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for it as I've gotten older. I can appreciate the storytelling and the gore and all that stuff, but um I avoided it because it just made me feel I didn't like the feeling it gave
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
but then when I started being asked to do things, I'm like, I've never seen that. I'm gonna have to watch it, aren't I? So I had to kind of toughen up and sit through it. And so I did. But no, it was good. It was good.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Star Wars fan, Fantha Tracks fan.
It strikes me, you mentioned there that doing DVD or Blu-ray releases of films that have been out for years, like a Criterion type thing, that you will approach it, especially if you've seen it, you are going to approach it in a different way than Drew or John Alvin or somebody might have approached a film that they've probably not actually seen all of themselves. You know, John Williams has seen the film when he scores it because he's got to have seen the film when he scores it.
Right.
But Drew didn't necessarily have to have seen, Temple of Doom before he did the Temple of Doom poster, if that makes sense. He needed the shots and the imagery to do it. So you approaching, I'm thinking of that Back to the Future one you did not that long ago. You've seen Back to the Future. It's been out there for 40 years. And then you get the opportunity to do something with the whole view of, this has been in the cultural lexicon for 40 years. You're not coming at it the same way that the artists did back in the day. How do you approach that? Because you could just leap on your favourite scene, but maybe you just want to eke something else a little different out of it. Well,
you're absolutely right. It is because it has been in the public eye for so long, and I myself grew up with Back to the Future, and so it's an opportunity to do something that you couldn't do with the main theatrical. Like, one of the beautiful things about Drew's original poster for Back to the Future was it was a bit like, you don't quite know what it's going to be. It's a bit of an enigma.
Yeah.
It looks science fiction, but it's sort of based in reality. You don't really know what's going on, and then you get there, and then you have the thrill of the movie. Once it's been in the public eye for a long period of time, like Back to the Future, a lot of people have grown up loving the characters. All the characters. I mean, it's such a rich movie of characters and places and everything that it was an opportunity to try and showcase them, because they weren't in the main poster originally. Well, and when you look at some of the posters that Drew did roughs for, he was using the ensemble cast in there. Like, you'd have George McFly and the mother and younger versions of them and stuff, and Doc was in those as well. But this was an opportunity to try and honor. I really wanted to. I mean, even though people have grown up loving the movie, I wanted to remind people of scenes from the movie, like key moments, like Marty on the guitar and him in the radiation suit with the Walkman, and I definitely wanted Jennifer in it, his girlfriend, and I even put Huey Lewis in there, and the truck, because I loved the black Toyota truck, so I had to put that in there. Little things just to kind of jog people's memories, and also I wanted to try and include the 1955 and the 1985, so it's like you have kind of two sides to the piece. So this, and then you have the middle section with the car and the flames and everything. So it was like, it's a good example. That's a really good example of what you were just saying about how when it's a re-release of something, you do have a different. It's a different approach, a different opportunity to present something, because most people who have seen it, it's not, and also you don't want to give anything away, so you still want to have a little bit of ambiguity, so you're not going to give the game away. You're not going to say, and Darth Vader's his father, like in the poster. You're not going to do that, but I think that's a really good example, and I absolutely loved doing that. And one other nice thing about that is that it was Bob Gale who put me forward for the job to do that for Universal. So that was really wonderful.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video and social media feeds, bookmark Fanthatracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
Are there any IP that you've not got your hands on yet? I'm conscious I haven't even mentioned Star Wars yet, but is there anything that you've got on a wish list? Something that from childhood that you think, I'd love to have a little go at that, but it's just not come along yet, or maybe that IP is not, in the on the go at the moment. Also,
that's a good question. Well, there are. I mean, a lot of the stuff I grew up with on TV, I was thinking a while ago, like, oh, it'd be great if, to do something for like Knight Rider
I
or
knew
something
you were
like
going
that.
to. I knew you. I was thinking Knight Rider as you said Knight Rider.
Well,
Honest.
the funniest thing is, so nobody hired me to do anything. And I'm like, well, I guess, and there was an anniversary. It would have been the 40th anniversary, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm just gonna I had a spare time. I just wanted, so I started. It's a lot of research goes into this job.
Yeah.
So you kind of pull in images and you're like looking at stuff and you have to evaluate like, does that say what I want it to say, and the relationship between the characters, and it's quite a you have to be quite picky, with things, and so you sort of get as much as you can, and then you start kind of whittling it down. It's a bit like getting a big piece of granite and then chiseling it down until you start to see the shapes and everything. So yeah, I started to do that for Knight Rider, and then I finished the illustration. I put it out there, wishing Knight Rider happy 40th anniversary, and then these guys in Germany who I've done some work for before, they released a big box set of it, and they didn't. I guess they just didn't think to call me, but I guess well, that's okay because it's a very nice box set, and what they did. But I always liked the having the characters on show and stuff, rather than it's not just about the car, even though the car is absolutely awesome. So I did that, and they saw it, and they were like, "Oh, we were actually going to be releasing a smaller version with all the discs in it. So it's every episode. It's a massive bumper thing." Wow. And we were wondering if we could use that. So Universal had to see it. They had to approve. Everyone had to approve on it, and it didn't have any changes. They loved it. They just went ahead and did it. So
how cool!
And so it became. So what I'm trying to say is like something that I loved growing up. I did something that it got seen and then became an official piece. So, I mean, stuff like that happens. It's so cool. It's really cool. But as far as other things, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, oh gosh, trying to think of something in particular. There's so much. Yeah. I mean, I feel very grateful to be able to have done what I've done so far, and then you never know what might be around the corner. You really don't. So, but if I was gonna wish for something, I'm trying to think what it would be. I wish Spider-Man would be a good one. I've never done anything. I've never really done an official Spider-Man thing, but well, apart from with the Avengers and that when he was in that. But so I did get to illustrate Spider-Man on those, but it's not a dedicated Spider-Man movie. I tell you what, the original Spider-Man TV show, I loved that growing up, and with Nicholas Hammond, and I've been compelled to do something for that, but I haven't got around to it yet. So I've started kind of compiling images and things, but that's something I really want to have a go at. People forget
we weirdly had our own MCU as kids, didn't we? With Spider-Man and Hulk and Thor, and there was things out there.
Yeah, it was there. They even did a Captain America at one point. Yeah. I mean, they were trying. They really were trying. And I mean, when you look at it now, and it's kind of the nostalgia factors there. Yeah, the memories of it are so strong. Like it's very, very vivid memories of. I mean, I think your mind makes it into something even greater than it was. Sure. Yeah, that show was great. Love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's probably my favorite superhero. I would say.
I feel the same. I think. Right. I think Tom Holland's done a great job, and I look forward to whatever comes next. But it's Spidey.
It is, yeah. Tom Holland's done a really good job. They got lucky with when they found him for that role.
They surely did, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's gone really well for him too. But yeah, he's doing great things. So. Yeah. And with this Odyssey movie coming out too, he's in that too.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. It's all happening.
It is.
Back to the not Back to the Future, back to the
multiplex.
Back to the multiplex. Yes, actually, that was because I did a concept for Back to the Future where it was like I was trying to come up with a tagline. It was something like "We're taking you back to the theater," because obviously in America they call it a theater, they don't call it the cinema. But um, and yeah, trying to come up with some taglines and stuff for Universal is fun. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Star Wars. Were you a Star Wars
Yes,
kid? Were you a Star Wars kid? Was that something you grew up
absolutely.
with?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. We used to play play Star Wars in the playground at school, you know. There was a big tree at I went to school at Charlton Park, I think it was a primary school, and we had a playground and there was this big tree with roots kind of exposed and stuff, and that was like the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. You know, it was a
Yeah.
big part of childhood. And you know, pretending to do the noises of the blaster pistols and the lightsabers, and you know, oh man, yeah. I always tried to be Luke or Han. I think they were the best
Didn't we
options.
all?
Yeah, I think so.
What was your first Star Wars piece when you, I mean, presumably getting the attention of the Lucasfilm or getting into that sort of track, if that makes sense? You know, you make headway in. I'm guessing it's not, you don't just, like you said, 10 years to be an overnight success. So you're not just making it and everyone's coming to you. You've got to do what you did and put yourself in front of people, keep going back and being persistent. How did the Lucasfilm connection start?
Well, the first job I did was actually in 2007. That was the first project I did. Basically, the way it came about was I'll just try and explain it in as quick a way as possible. There's a guy called Les David who has a big Indiana Jones collection. He's the biggest Indiana Jones collection in the world. And he's friends with Steve Sansweet, who has the biggest Star Wars collection in the
Yeah.
world. And so they were talking once and I must have come up in the conversation and Steve hadn't seen my work and so Steve said, "Oh, has he, you know, sent his portfolio into Lucasfilm?" And so I hadn't. So Les got in touch with me and said, "Have you?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "Can you get me the address?" So anyway, he gave me the address. I got all the details, and I was actually going on holiday and to New Zealand for a few weeks. So I took everything with me, and I built a little portfolio while I was away, and I sent it from New Zealand to Los Angeles, and then just waited to hear from them. So I had the trip, got back home, and still didn't hear anything. And so I actually found the phone number of the place and I phoned them and got hold of the art director or creative director at Lucasfilm. And I said, "Oh," I said who I was. And I was just wondering if you'd received my portfolio in the mail. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I did. It's here on my desk. We're not interested in that style at all at the moment. We're not going for any of that. But thanks anyway, you know, all the best." And that was that really. And then a couple of days later, I got an email from them saying, we had a client a licensee come in, and they were looking for some artwork for a box set that they're doing of a game, and they saw your portfolio on the desk and said, "That's what we want right there."
Wow.
So I got my first Lucasfilm gig, and it was for a card game, and it was a tin, and it was called the Battle of Hoth. And so they wanted it to be like a kind of a movie poster-ish looking piece, but based off of Empire Strikes Back. But it had to be of like a Hoth-y thing, and it had characters on it, and yeah. So that was the first thing right there, and then it was pretty quiet. Then I did a couple of things for Topps, um, trading cards, official Star Wars Galaxy cards, and things like that.
Yeah.
And also I did some stuff with the role-playing game.
Right.
Yeah, some character illustrations and strange, weird aliens and things.
Is that the Fantasy Flight one, Edge of the Empire, that one?
Mm,
Or was it
trying
before
to
that? Wizards?
Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, that's it. And I used to play the role playing game when I was a kid. So being a Star
Yeah.
Wars fan, and a friend of mine, it was a massive Star Wars fan too. And he loved art too. He was a great artist, and so we used to, a few of us, get together and do the role playing game. It was really fun. So to get to work on it was really good. The artwork I did could have been way better, but it didn't. I don't know. Looking at it now, I'm like, oh, I wish it was better. But anyway, we grow and we learn all the
Absolutely.
time. Um, but yeah, after that, it was a slow crawl
Yeah.
of getting stuff done. Um, and the next big Star Wars thing would have been, well, it was the poster for The Last Jedi.
Yeah. The red one.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
an orangey
Yeah.
color, yeah. And that was pretty cool because I'd seen, obviously, when The Force Awakens came out, and I Drew did something and they launched it at D23, and it was an illustrated painting, and I was like, oh, this is cool, this is different, maybe this is like the teaser poster, and then what will come out will be his final poster,
Yeah.
like but when the poster was revealed and it wasn't a hand illustrated piece, it was a Photoshop, more just general photo
Yeah.
composite. I just thought, oh dear, that's the end of that then. I guess it felt like the end of an era, and I thought
Yes.
it might have been like the final nail in the coffin of, because basically illustrated posters and the stuff that I grew up loving, it was starting to die off in the 90s. Like it was going, like everything was going photos,
Yeah.
and it felt like a dying art in a way. And so when a Star Wars movie, which is notorious for having a hand illustrated poster, came out without one,
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, maybe that's it. Um, but when the Last Jedi was coming around, they asked me to do something, so we did, and that was a great joy to do an official, my first official Star Wars poster, really.
Yeah.
Um, and it was for the Dolby Cinemas, which are a brilliant cinema, by the way. But it was, it's through Lucasfilm, but then Dolby get to use that poster exclusively
Yeah.
for them. And that was used on a few other things. I think it was used on a magazine cover or something else, and a few things I can't remember. But yeah, that was great. And then around the same time was Star Wars Celebration in Orlando, so I got to do key art and all the badge art for that. So that was a pretty major lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I honestly, when I think back to those things, just those two things, even those, they're they're big things. And it's coming up for 10 years ago, that celebration. It was the 40th anniversary of Star
Yes.
Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got the big 50 next year.
I know. I mean, you obviously, as a fan, you're looking forward to that. Is there?
Of course.
Can we look forward to anything coming from your part of the world?
Oh, well, I mean, I haven't started on anything yet, but if something, and there's nothing official I can say, I'll be honest, but I would love to do something for the 50th. And, as a fan anyway, I would probably do something anyway.
Hi everyone, this is Misty Roses, and you are listening to Fantha Tracks. I have spoken.
Sometimes, even if there's nothing work related coming along, you get the itch like Knight Rider. You get the itch like, I really want to get this out of my head onto the page.
Exactly.
So yeah.
No, that's what it's been like since I was a kid. So
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. And if you can get paid doing it, then that's ideal. But but a lot of the time I'm just if something inspires me that I really want to do something, or I mean, one of the impetuses for me was sometimes if the movie didn't have a poster, I wished it had, like, they missed an opportunity. Well, I'm going to do my own version anyway, and put it out there and people can enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that's just something I've always done anyway. It's but it's like the Joker said, isn't it? It's if you're good at something, don't do it for free. I think he said something like, I might have got the words a bit wrong there, but it's something along those lines.
The sentiment is right. No, I mean, when we saw you at Galaxy Palooza briefly, and we had a proper chat at Force Fest, and the table layout, when you got your Raiders stuff, your Indiana Jones bits and other projects, it's so, as people who grew up admiring the work of those kind of guys that did proper movie posters, if that makes sense, actually the craft of doing it, as opposed to, like you said, the sort of the collage style that seems to be more prevalent, that to see different interpretations, your interpretations of certain characters and certain scenarios, it just makes you think about the films again sometimes in a different way. I'm going to do something terrible now. I'm going to hold my phone up because obviously you did the Mando and Grogu one. It's also my screensaver. And my wife very kindly turned it into a phone cover, which is lovely. But, again, it's just makes you look at the film in a slightly different way. Just gets the juices going, because especially for Star Wars, we're always running the angles on Star Wars, aren't we? Where's the plot going to go? What's going to happen next? It's that kind of universe.
Yeah, no, and it's a fun thing to sort of try and predict those things too. Like, I mean, back to The Last Jedi, even I added the twin suns in the poster. And it wasn't like something they said, oh, we got to have twin suns in there. I just did it because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I thought, just for the effect of that. And then at the end of the movie, if you've seen it, at the end of the movie, I was watching it, I'm like, what? This thing happens. And I'm like, I just, no one told me. I just did it, because I felt like it was right.
Yeah.
So things like that happen all the time. And then doing that, I would have loved to. I mean, unfortunately, that Mandalorian piece isn't official. It's just something as a fan I did for the love of Star Wars, really. And it's just like something that I might have done if it was, something that I was asked to do. But yeah, I mean, as a fan, I mean, the thing is, I can't hide the fact that I'm a fan first. I grew up loving these things, and then occasionally you get to actually do something official. It's like to try and honor the tradition and or where it all came from is very important to me. Because I think the way I felt when I was a kid, you want to try and reinvigorate it again for today's audience, and so it's a fun thing to be able to do. And being at like Galaxy Palooza and Force Fest, you met people who were like, they didn't realize what you did, and then you're talking to them, and they see what you've done, and they're like excited by it, and then you're just enjoying the look of it, and it's very gratifying, because a lot of it is you're doing it for work or you're doing it for personal reasons, but then when it gets put out in the world and people can react to it, it is nice. I can't deny it.
It is. And I'm glad we've connected, because you're one of those guys whose work I've seen. Because I'm an Empire subscriber going back to sort of the late '80s when it started. So seeing that it's always been a joy. And then seeing again at Force Fest, seeing the table, seeing the work up close, able to pick it up and have a proper look at it. It's a different. It feels tangible. I think that's why movie posters, physical posters, are so important, and the prints, obviously, that you do. There's something different about almost being able to sort of. You know what I mean? And just
get in there and look at it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd get a magnifying glass out and I'd be looking at like Drew's movie posters and figuring out like, wow, these, there's so many, the detail and everything else. And so when I'm working on something, I try and imbue that into what I do. So as well, just to try and keep that torch being carried a little bit.
Absolutely. 50th anniversary next year. Yes. Any hopes or plans to try and get to Celebration?
Oh, I'd like to be there if I can. I don't have a ticket, so it would have to be some kind of miracle because I think it's completely sold out. But yeah, I'd love to be there celebrating with everybody. It'd be nice if there was a way of being there in some official capacity or something. But Nothing's been happening as yet, but yeah, I mean, it's actually been a while since I've been back to California. To be fair, I think the
Right.
last trip was 2019. It was pre-pandemic, and haven't been back, so I think it's about time. So next year, and also with the Lucas Museum,
Yes.
I really want to visit there, and oh, I've become a member of their museum, but and they're asking people to get your tickets now, but I'm not going to be going over right now, but I did kind of think about going to the opening in September, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. But next year, I think with the coinciding with the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, I think that's a good excuse to try and get over there, really. And got a lot of friends over there. It'd be nice to catch up. There's been a lot. I think I've got a lot grayer since they last saw me. Time's just ticking along. But yeah, it'd be nice to get back over there. But yeah, maybe I'll see you over there, if not before.
Hi, this is Robert Ems, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
I've just actually launched a members site on my website.
Yes, just saw that. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I really want to try and it's difficult to do when you're trying to work and everything else. And I mean, social media is hard enough. But I really I wanted to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a few years now, which is try and have a place for fans of what I do, and who you can go on there and have a look around and find more out. And I'm going to try and figure out ways of interacting better with people, and that it's a bit like that Patreon, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like, but it's kind of behind a paywall on my own website, so you don't have to go out to Patreon. It's underneath my website, kind of thing. So it's a work in progress. It's it's something I really want to put a lot of effort into. It's just finding the time to do those things, and make stuff available that for it's behind a paywall for people who really enjoy those things. And at the moment, like, I've got some free foam wallpapers, funnily enough, on there. Right. So you could, if you're joining, you get a couple of free foam wallpapers at the moment. But there's going to be more coming to it. I want to do like some videos behind the scenes. I'm going to do a tour of the studio. Nice. I want to show people my art files and stuff like that, and show them some of my old artwork, maybe like see where it all came from. Stuff that I just want. If there are people who care enough that will join, that they will get to see it, enjoy it, rather than put it out to the whole world. I'd just rather keep it to the people who are seriously interested in things like this, rather than just I don't know, put it out there for the masses. I do want to kind of get a sense of community of people who care about what I care about, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I've got a few subscribers recently, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, feel free to join. It's that you can pay like as a monthly amount, or you can pay annually and save some money. And then I've got a VIP section where it's a bit more pricey, but you get a free print every year that you're a member, and a bunch of other stuff as well. But yeah, it's just, honestly, it's an experiment. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping it's going to be a fun experience for me and for everybody who joins. I have to put more effort into this as well, as do jobs as well. And so it's a bit of a juggling act. I mean, I'm juggling projects at the moment, and then to add that on at the moment, it's just the timing isn't perfect. But when things quieten down a bit, I'll be able to put a bit more effort into it, and do the videos and do the behind the scenes. I wanted to show people a bit of my process and things like that. And also, if there are budding illustrators out there who want advice, I can be available to them. You know what I mean? So we could do, I mean, I'm thinking even like do like one-on-one like chats or something with people on video, and if people got questions, they can do it a bit like what we're doing right now. But
Yeah.
It's they can ask pretty much anything they want to know and help them try and make it into the industry, perhaps. So yeah, I mean that's something I'm quite excited about. It's just finding the time to actually implement everything. I mean, it took me probably 6 months to get around to putting it online, and should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? I'm like, oh gosh, it's like one of those, I didn't know what to do, but I really wanted to do it, but then I'm afraid to do it, and then I don't know, it's kind of a weird, but it is what it is. I'm just another person out there trying to, connect with people who like what I like and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of that's going on.
It sounds fascinating. I mean, hopefully when people watch this and hear this, they'll be able to come to the paulshipper.com.
Yeah, you can go to paulshipper.com or paulshipperstudio.com. Either of those takes you there. And if you're not interested in becoming a member, there's all sorts of, you can have a look through my portfolio, and there's an online store there. You can get limited editions and stuff like that. So yeah.
No, it's fantastic. It's brilliant. I've really enjoyed this. I've been looking forward to this ever since we set it up. So thanks for your time.
Me too.
I'm sure I'll see you at a show again soon.
Oh, I look forward to it. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you hear of any that would like me to be a guest at, let me know. It's a fun experience. And Star Wars is a big part of my life, as it is for many of us. And so it's nice to kind of do things in that galaxy. So I'll always love being associated with Star Wars in any way. So I feel very fortunate to be associated in the way that I am. So
brilliant. Well, we're lucky to have you around. So thanks for your time.
Oh, thanks so much. It's good talking to you.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Canon Fodder. For more Star Wars podcast content, be sure to subscribe to Fantha Tracks Radio on your podcatcher of choice. Subscribe to all our social media at links.fanthatracks.com. Be sure to be checking out fanthatracks.com daily for all your latest Star Wars news. And you can also join us live on YouTube for Good Morning Tatooine every Sunday evening at youtube.com/Fantha TV.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Making Tracks.